In this video, we will do a little bit of inheritance, considering the fact that our fraction class is actually inheriting from the global object that is defined in C#, that is the object or the class name object. So this is the upward inheritance going down from the global object class to our fraction. And what we will do is to define a few methods that is still undefined yet, which in this case is the ToString method. And that is only a little bit of the theme in this video. Most part of this video will be dealing with GitHub, or how we publish our work, our programming to the whole world. But as of this video, we will still keep it private. So we will do some GitHub, and we will delay our actual inheritance, which is the downward inheritance. Our fraction class will become the base class of a new class. How that will be done, we will show you afterward. Now let us launch our Visual Studio. Now you can see here, there is no GitHub yet in our folder or the root folder of our project. Now before we start with anything on redefining the ToString method, let us first create GitHub repository for our code. How to do that? You first need to sign up to GitHub. You can go to www.github.com. Now, GitHub is actually belonging to Microsoft. So for that reason, it's really very easy to connect Visual Studio to GitHub, because both of these applications belongs to the same company. So figure out yourself how to sign up first. I already signed up, so I cannot show how to sign up. You can figure that out using Google. So let me sign in. I would rather choose my username rather than my email address to sign in to GitHub, because my email address is Gmail, which is not Microsoft ID. It is Google ID. Okay, so this is my dashboard. All these are the projects belonging to my student, except the one with my name. All these are my students. They submit their code through GitHub. I can see their work because they invite me. There is a mechanism or feature GitHub that GitHub allows someone to invite or give privileged someone to view a private repository. So this is it. I need to sign in or log in first, then going back to my Visual Studio. If you cannot see the GitHub panel in your Visual Studio dashboard, we need to open it. How? We go to View, then look for Git repository, click it. We need to rearrange this so that the panel for GitHub is merged with Solution Explorer. But before that, we need to configure something in our project with regards to GitHub, the settings under GitHub. Choose a location where you want to keep your GitHub, of a folder where you want to keep your GitHub. This is my email, and this is my username for my GitHub. I hope that is all. Then we need to configure this dashboard so that this panel is merged with the Solution Explorer. So what do? You move until you can see this four direction of how I want to move this panel. So I want to merge it with Solution Explorer. I want to put up here. Does it merge? I think it's merged, but sorry, not yet. There, okay. This is Git repository. The tab for Git repository merge with the same panel as Solution Explorer, right? Then, then next, what I need to do is to push the first commit, which means I need to create the Git repository. Okay, so click that. Let me show again. Under Git, create Git repository. Then let me see what do I need to change here. Local path is the same. This is same. Let it like that. And add a readme. Yes. Okay. This is all my profile in GitHub. Visibility, I want to keep it private first until it is decent enough to be shown off to the whole world. Okay, I think everything is okay. Create and push. So it is running now at the background. In the background, it is successful. So this one we can close. So to make sure that everything is there in GitHub, go back to the GitHub page. Okay, so do I have my fraction? Refresh. I get my fraction project just now, just uploaded. Okay, the three folder. This is for the library. This is for the GUI. This is for the console driver. There is a README file. I want to add another README file under the library folder, because most of the thing that we want to explain is actually about the library. Open my Solution Explorer. I want to explain something. I want to add readme.md, add new item. It is readme.md. .md stands for Markdown. It is a kind of coding, a lot simpler than HTML. HTML is really huge. This coding is used to format our documentation for the overall of our code. Click add. So now this readme is under fraction, which is the library. So what do I want to add now? Is fraction library. So this is the preview. Now, if you want to know how to format this document, we can go to Google and Google for Markdown format. Markdown format. So you can read the Gemini AI output, but I would like to go to the actual website of Markdown. So these are the basic syntax. You can explore more syntax over here. So now I want to put the topmost heading level. This is it. I just need to put one hashtag followed by space and then the heading level. This is equivalent to h1 in HTML, and this is how it looks like. So what do I need to do? I need to put hashtag and then space. So this is how it looks like. Then I would like to say that this is the first commit. Only some minimal code for the library. Basic constructors, basic properties, and a few conversion methods. Save it. Now, if we look at our Git repository, we need to see what are the changes. Obviously, we have added a readme.md over here. We need to see the changes. How to see that? We go to Git and then commit or stash. There will be another tab under this panel. This is Git repository that we already have just now. This is Git changes. So listed here is the readme.md under fraction. Of course, the fraction project file also changed. There's no stashes yet because in GitHub or Microsoft terminology, stashes mean staging. So we have not staged the file that we added yet, but it is better to just commit everything and synchronize everything. The staging part oftentimes will be transparent. So we don't want to make too many commit. What I mean is that we don't want to commit for every baby step that we make in our progress. We want to make a few changes, then commit to that changes after we have enough changes. Right? I hope that makes sense. So this is, oh wait a minute. This readme file is for actually for the first commit just now. Even this readme file is actually one baby step in the progress. The one that we added, the readme file that we added when we first create the repository belonging to the entire solution. So let us continue to other changes to this project. Let me close this one. So remember, we want to implement some flavor of inheritance. Remember that any class that we create in C# actually inherits from the global object predefined in C#, which is the class object. So how to prove that? We can go to the console program. This is the class fraction. This is the object. If we type a dot after the object name, we can see all the members that we created or we added, but there are also a few members that we didn't create. It is already there because this is inherited from object class. We don't want to touch anything for equals for now. Get hash code, get type, also we don't want to touch. We want to define this ToString. All right. It is under methods. It should be public. Since we are overriding the method that we inherit from object, this has to be an overriding method, or we need the keyword override. It has to return string to string, and we don't want to return the base to string. What we want to do is to return the number underscore num and underscore denom with the slash in between. And if the num and denom is negative, we want to surround it with bracket. So let us build the string step by step. String return string. we initialize with an empty string. Then if numerator is less than 0, what we do is we add a bracket to the return string. Then return string, you see the code suggestion in Visual Studio is already smart enough to suggest or to predict what we want to write. This is already using an AI in your coding. We add the number to string, and then we add the closing bracket, and then we do the same to denom. Oops, there's a mistake here. And I think that is all. We return string. Then we run the driver program. Console write line. Why not we print the last value of a frac here? A frac dot ToString. It is 7/4. Oops, we forget the slash. This one we need to add this one. Rebuild. Okay, so this is a fraction 7/4 written as text to string. Let us see if these changes have been recorded in our Git. Okay, so the project file, and this is the method.cs modified already because we add the ToString method. Maybe the next test is to see if we get our bracket correctly if num or denom are negative. So let us change the value to -7/5, and then we do another write line. Okay, so if the values are negative, it will be surrounded with bracket. We do more tests. If let's say any of them are positive, will the bracket be omitted? Nice, 7 is positive, so the bracket is omitted. Let us make 7 negative again, 5 is positive. Okay, so there are a few things that are missing or a little bit awkward in this case, that if the numerator, if either one of the numerator or denominator is negative, we should assign the negative sign to the entire fraction, not only to the numerator or denominator. And if both are positive, the entire fraction should be positive. So this is a little awkward. That is why we need to extend this class to a better class that can do that. That can decide if none of the numerator or denominator is negative, then of course the sign is positive. If either one is negative, the entire value is negative. But if both are negative, the sign is back to positive. And also, if you realize, our fraction does not have the integer part. Some fraction has integer part. For example, 2 and 1/4. We write as 2/1/4, right? So we need to cater for integer part of the fraction, which is to be done in that extension. So next is we want to rename this class, okay. Instead of fraction, we want fraction as our final name. We want to rename this as fraction base. You see, we have been changing names a few times already in a very small project. At a very first stages of development, we're already changing names and variables. This is normal in programming. If you have a team, discussion or meeting should be there to reduce number of changes like this. But since I'm coding this solution or this program alone, there was no meeting, there was no discussion. I can change it as I wish. So I want to call this not fraction, I want to call it fraction base. So there are a lot of errors already appearing. We need to change, go back to Solution Explorer. We need to change all fraction class to fraction base. Save it. Anything else? All right, and then save all. So now there are still errors because constructor need to have the same name as the class name. All right, two more errors. Then we are missing namespace where in the driver. Okay, in the console. So this is fraction base, right? And new fraction base. Okay, so I hope that is it. It is not that difficult because there's not much code has been keyed in so far. Save all, then rebuild. Just rerun the driver. Do we still get the same thing? Okay, hopefully still the same thing. That is it. We will make use of this class as base class, and then later we will add another class under fraction, which is extending or derived from fraction base. Before we end our video, let us see what are the changes. Okay, more changes here. Under commit all, we can have three options, either only commit all and push, or commit all and sync. So to check this one, to check the difference between these three options, what you can do is, as other programmers do, we can just Google it. Okay, so let us see what Gemini has to say. Maybe we can read the summary. Commit is purely local. Push, send to remote. Sync, it also pulls from remote and then resynchronize the state. Okay, so what we want to do is commit and sync, and we also need to say something. And of course, before that, why not we also change the readme. Let us make this as bullet. It is just by putting dash. So readme has been added. Then commit all and sync. Successful. Let us verify this on GitHub. So the changes were in this folder. Okay, there's the changes. This is a readme, and all CS files should have fraction base. All right, fraction base, fraction base, and the methods will have now should have ToString. Right, we should have added the XML documentation also just now, but we will do that in the next commit or next change in our code. Before we conclude this video, let us take a look at our root folder of our solution. So now you can see that there are a few new folders has been created for us. This Git is actually hidden, but it is created after we make our first Git repository. You can see the content. Okay, that is all for now.